So let's talk about mockingbirds. Mockingbirds are a New World songbird known for its impressive ability to mimic sounds that it hears. Some of its behavior happens to be very interesting. So, mockingbirds are territorial and will aggressively chase off intruders, sometimes even attacking or gaslighting, attacking people or pets that approach them, maybe questioning their narrative or just different things. So you're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about? Why are you correlating mockingbirds to gaslighting? Well, you have to stay tuned for today's Share Report. So I opened this video up talking about mockingbirds. So for decades now, there have been a variety of operations. Operation Paperclip, Operation Garden Plot, and Operation Mockingbird. We're going to learn a little bit about the origins of Operation Mockingbird and how it's still basically in place today. So Operation Mockingbird started way back in the Cold War. Probably even goes back further than this, but some details that I found were in the mid-70s. And it was a large-scale operation. I'm going to say allegedly, just for the sake of this video. You always have to say allegedly, but there were a lot of proven facts for this. So it was a large-scale program by the three-letter acronym group that we all love and trust today. It starts with the letter C, a second letter I, and ends with the letter A, as we know. So that three-letter acronym agency that began the Operation Mockingbird in the Cold War. So in the 70s. So basically, it was a manipulation of domestic news. And they paid lots of journalists, news anchors, and today, as we would call them, influencers. So today's terminology. So they even paid them even to manipulate the news to get the public to believe a certain narrative. So you're probably thinking, how is that new? So during that time, there were a plethora of things that were going on to manipulate people, but it's also to show you that we think, okay, how come the news, when people say the mainstream news, we need to cut out that word and we need to say the corporate owned or the three-letter acronym agency owned news, because they're only going to let you hear and see things that they want you to hear and see. And there may be some that may sprinkle a little bit of truth in there, like Fox News, for instance, kind of pander to the conservative people when they're really actually promoting things that a lot of us don't want, like war. Forget all the other, like CBS, CNN, all the other news outlets. Well, they say they're news outlets. It's actually propaganda outlets. Obviously, they're not going to give you anything, but you actually expect a little more from places like Fox, but really they're actually paid by corporate-owned or agencies as well, corporate-owned corporations as well. So that's the reason why they'll sprinkle a little bit of conservative in there, like, oh, abortion's bad and we need to promote the family, but at the same time, they're promoting and pushing war and also telling you half-truths and not showing things accurately. So whenever you hear people say, how come we don't get the same news like we did when Walter Cronkite back then, people listened to those people because they actually showed and shared information that the public wanted to know or needed to know. And then people took that information and made a decision on their own. They actually showed the news and actually facts. They didn't go in there. They weren't glamorous Barbie dolls. They weren't celebrities. They weren't models. They weren't actors. They were actually news anchors, and they were sharing information that we all needed to know. That's one of the reasons why, not to get off topic from Operation Mockingbird, we're going to get back to that in a second, but that's the reason why when during the Vietnam War, when people were coming back home, they were calling the people that were fighting for these war profiteers, they were saying, you guys are baby killers. They were saying things of that sort because they actually seen what was happening over in Vietnam and these other places. So you actually seen it, you actually got real life or actually seen before your eyes. Unlike today, when you have the corporate-owned media and the acronym-owned media acronym agencies that own these media only giving you a little bit because they want to share information and spread an idea to manipulate your mind to think a certain way, like, oh, this country is bad, Russia's bad, Iran's bad, or these people are bad, let's go do this because we need to go to war because it's going to benefit us. So they're only giving you a little bit of information, and people not knowing and digging further and saying, okay, who is benefiting from this? Let's see the broader picture. Who owns these corporations? As you know, there are a handful of corporations that actually own these new news outlets. And I'm going to share with you some clips of some propaganda and manipulation that we are actually in most recently, we got the same narrative over and over from every single outlet that you can imagine. I'm going to play some clips and I'm going to see if you catch the verbiage. Okay, so let's hop back into Operation Mockingbird. So during Operation Mockingbird, the investigation of intelligence abuses of the three-letter acronym agency by the Church Committee. So Frank Church, he actually was the head of this committee. He was actually a Democratic senator from Idaho. I wrote some notes so that I don't forget to share some details with you. I was not alive during this time, so I would not know this, but there are other members that were a part of this committee, the Church Committee. Other members, I will name their names: John Tower, Philip Hart, Howard Baker, Walter Mondale, Barry Goldwater, Walter Huddleston, Charles Matthias, Robert Morgan, Richard Schweckler, and Gary Hart. Okay, so all of those people were a part of this committee to investigate what was happening with these news organizations. So I want to dive a little deeper. Okay, so the news outlets, they were involved in a variety of things. So the news outlets that were a part of this was CBS, New York Times, Time Magazine, Newsweek, columnists, and actually it spread out into other foreign news outlets as well. So they didn't just control what was at home domestically, they also went abroad and was trying to spread this propaganda, okay? So this shows how deep ties and how deep this organization has their hands in everything that we are fed. When we go to war, what kind of bills are passed, what information that we need to hear. This is so deep, and it makes you wonder why one of our presidents actually was unlived, allegedly. One of the acronym groups was actually involved in his unliving because he wanted to get rid of it, just to say the least, okay? So, like I had mentioned earlier, I'm going to play some video footage for you to see that there's actually, now we can see the manipulation of the information we are fed, because it's one thing for, one news outlet to say something, but when it's said over and over and over again, you can see who's manipulating the information and wanting us to be fed a certain thing, okay? So, and today, back then, it was news anchors and, different people that they were paying. Now it's influencers, and they're paying them up to $7,000 a post. If you know, you know, okay? If you don't know, leave a comment and I'll spread a little more information about that if you don't know what the $7,000 is. Okay, so I'm going to play some videos for you so that you can see the consistent bombardment, propaganda, and lies that we were told. Eventually, we were told it was lies, and then people just bought it hook, line, and sinker and went along with different things and just believed it and got us in all sorts of trouble and a whole big mess because they believed the corporate-owned media, which shows to you that we can't trust them whatsoever. So I'm giving you a heads up on this video and talking about Operation Mockingbird because it goes way back further. It didn't just stop then, it is today, things that they're feeding us. And the reason why I wanted to share this video with you is because I'm going to be starting a series talking about different gubernatorial candidates running for Florida and running for a governor here in Florida, and there's going to be a lot of misinformation and things that I'm going to be sharing with you, and I want you to keep in mind what is truth and what is fiction and where this information is coming from. and also want you to know the motive. So this is a great video. Share with people who do not know or may not have heard of Operation Mockingbird. So I'm going to roll right into these video clips to share some more information with you. In the meantime, support my independent reporting by subscribing, sharing this video, and all the things. Okay, I'm going to roll right into the videos.
There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever. And there is no question that once he acquires it, history shifts immediately. The dangers posed by a nuclear-armed Saddam were understood by my country.
He has gone to elaborate lengths, spent enormous sums, taken great risks to build and keep weapons of mass destruction.
Saddam Hussein is determined to get his hands on a nuclear bomb.
Nuclear weapon, nuclear weapon, nuclear weapon.
Active chemical munitions bunkers, mobile production facilities.
We know he's got chemical weapons. He's got them, he's got them, he's got them.